we want to get into our conversation as quickly as possible. There's many things to talk about with one of my favorite guests whenever he does come on. I don't think it's a secret now, if you look anywhere in social media, that AmaZulu Football Club have made some changes to their technical staff. They've announced changes to their team. Their coach, Romain, or their ex-coach, Romain, has handed a new role within the club. In a statement released earlier on today, they confirmed that Andile is the interim coach, while Folz was named the technical director. To tell us a lot more about this, please assist me in welcoming President of AmaZulu Football Club, Sandile Zungu, on the line. President, always a pleasure to have you, Samuel. It's always great to have you on the show. It's been a while. Are you well?
I'm all good, my brother. Thank you so much for inviting me, and good evening to your listeners as well.
Hebe.
Hebe.
You know, I say this very often to say there's a new ownership in the DSTV Premiership that is looking, and you can tell the seriousness of how you're taking football, the seriousness of what you want to do with this thing called football. You know, this season has been, although, you know, maybe not on the field, but watching your love and your intensity for football and for people has been an encouraging one. How would you sum up, no, let's not talk about on the field quite yet, but your welcoming in the last couple of months and maybe 2 years into football?
Well, it's been really phenomenal. Let me start with my the community of core chairmen and presidents of teams. I've been welcomed with both hands by all of them. It's nice to have a camaraderie, which you often feel when you attend the AGM. And I'm very proud of that, because we compete in the field, but outside of the field, in the boardroom, we're brothers and sisters. And that doesn't often happen in industries where I've operated as a business person. You know, you find that great sportsmanship, that great spirit in soccer, it doesn't end too well when one or two of us gets relegated, and we meet them in the AGM now representing the NFD teams. That starts there. Among the supporters, I've been, really humbled by the acceptance, recognition, and the respect that I've enjoyed from the supporters. Sometimes they're not happy, but the respect for me and my family is truly immense and truly heartwarming. Among the commercial sponsors, that some of them we inherited from the previous regime, and the new ones that we have brought closer to the team, again, it's been really great. We learn as we go along, because sometimes the response on the field is not commensurate with the energy and the effort we put into making this brand a great soccer brand. But all is very well in the last 2.5 years, I would say, from October 2020.
I mean, that's an amazing thing. Before we get into our conversation, I wanted to remind you that on the 3rd of May, you are owing a guard of honor to Sundowns.
Well, they deserve it. They deserve it. We will give it to them. We'll roll out the red carpet, because I think they've really commanded us. They've invested so much into making the South African soccer product continentally competitive. You can actually see when Mamelodi Sundowns plays against the Al-Ahlis of this world, they know they're going to sweat, whether it's home or away from home. And they are deserving champions. How many years in a row now? 6. And I'm very proud of them. You know, I think for me, I always say, if one can be half as good as Sundowns in all departments, then we'll say we've arrived.
Well, let's get into the business of the day, which is, if you want to get there, it's one of those things that you must get right, is your technical team. You have, in your words and as per statement as well, redeployed your coach, Romain Folz. I mean, your statement says it's owing to results, but I can imagine there's a lot deeper to that. What can you tell us about the reasons behind the conversations leading to you redeploying your coach?
I've been one of the most unequivocal supporters of Romain Folz. If you read social media, you'll see, even on Facebook, as soon as I post, there'll be someone saying, "When are you firing Fohloza?" I've taken a lot of pressure from everywhere, from all and sundry. Why am I defending Fohloza? People don't appreciate that there's something I see in Fohloza which may be good for the team long term. And hence, when we removed him from the head coach role, I said, you know what, I don't want to lose what this guy has. Technically very, very strong. Analytically, probably second to none. And his studying of soccer as a craft is very impressive, even for people like myself who are novices on the technical side of things. And I have a vision 2032, which is to build AmaZulu to a formidable enterprise come the year of our centenary. And so I'm very keen that I don't want to lose him at this time of the season. So he's brought up much closer to the president to offer advice on the technical aspects of the Vision 2032. But it's very clear he is not expected to interfere with the coaching duties of the interim coach. He's a good man, a professional man who will not even interfere with the players, who are at the team, notwithstanding that he knows them intimately now, that he has coached them for the last 17 league games. So we need him, but it's very important that we recognize the Lankata that left with 6 games, and in the last 17 games we've been collecting on average 1.13 points per game. That if we maintain that correct statistic, we won't go too far come the next 6 games. We needed to change gear a bit. Same players who, in my opinion, constitute one of the top 4 assemblies of players in the DSTV Premier Soccer League. Get them to perform better, motivate them, reorganize them, and get them to perform at their optimal best. We can compete for the next 18 points that are on offer. And I know we can compete because we have competed in the past. So that's a brief mandate, a very firm mandate for Andile Dlamini in the next 6 games.
So, some members of your team, players, junior and senior, who have been coached by other coaches at your team and other teams, they don't seem to share the same sentiment that you have on the technical abilities of Romain Folz, especially during training sessions where there's been questions on his tactics, when there's been questions on his training sessions, the kind of training sessions that they hold, the kind of tactical approach to the game, when they question him and they ask him questions to say, but shouldn't we be playing this sort of training in order to be game ready? There seems to be a change room question on the coach. What is it that your players aren't saying or aren't seeing that you are seeing? Because there seems to be that amongst them.
I'm not so sure where you will have got that, because I'm not entirely familiar with it. I've had the discussion with the players, with the coach as well. Some sentiments would have been expressed, quite frankly, in confidence within the ambit of team management, technical chart. So what you will find is that no coach is perfect. And every coach who introduces a certain style of coaching will be questioned by those who are accustomed to certain styles. But the fact of the matter is that someone has got to have his head on the block, and the buck has got to stop at some door, and often it's a coach. So I'm one of those firm believers that if we are to progress as a team, if we are to progress as a nation in soccer, there's got to be a certain level of discipline that is displayed by those who are coached, and they've got to acclimatize. Unfortunately, soccer is fast-paced. Before you realize, you're actually left with 6 games. And so the chance for new things that people must get accustomed to internalize is just not there. You need to deliver on the goodies, and therefore to resort to those that people are comfortable with, if we're to get them excited to deliver. And therefore,
just to cut through and go to net break. When we come back, I'd love to continue on this conversation, because you are showing us and giving us a view that is seemingly not shared by many at the club. But I want to give you a little bit more of what I've come to learn, and then just find out or have you tell me how much of this is what you know and not. Let's take a break.
ShopRite, SA's biggest retailer, now brings you SA's lowest data prices with Connect Mobile. Get 1 gig Connect Mobile data for only 39 Rand. You heard right, SA's lowest data price. 1 gig data valid for 60 days for 39 Rand. Buy and recur your Connect Mobile SIM card at any ShopRite, Checkers and USave store today. T's and C's apply. Lowest cost claim has not been verified by an independent person.
Celebrate Freedom Month with our movies every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. on SABC2. Harriet, Catch a Fire, Malcolm X, Mandela and de Klerk, and I Am Sam. Only on SABC2.
It's exactly 21 after the hour 6. If you're just joining us, President of AmaZulu Football Club, Sandile Zungu, a man that never avoids the issues, comes on to face them, straight on, is on with us to speak about what is happening at the moment at AmaZulu. Zungu, I just wonder, and maybe I'm taking you back here a little bit. I spoke to Romain Folz. I spoke to, the president out at Marumo Gallants as well when he was hired there, because I looked up, and this is not to say anything about the coach, but I looked at his stints in Ghana, on the continent, in Botswana, at Marumo Gallants, and I asked myself, what there in his history and lack there of experience of having stayed at one team for an entire season, because he doesn't have that when you look at what he's been able to do. Never mind his young age, because you do get young coaches that are full of experience via school and maybe as an assistant. What is it about this man that you see so much that, senior players within the team, junior players within the team don't see?
Well, I think we're hypothetical now because he is not head coach. We have a head coach in Andile.
Yes, I mean, before.
And
coach.
I've retained him as a technical director to advise me specifically, because I've got a vision 2032, which, among other issues, talks about what kind of team, how it needs to be organized to be a formidable force. And there are very intricate aspects thereof which I've charged him with that responsibility of developing for me in the manual form before the end of the season, when his tenure will then have ended. The truth of the matter is that I've believed in him, because I've seen his approach, to the game, possibly where his the shortcoming has manifested itself in the team, is what I'll call his capacity to win the respect, to maintain and sustain the respect among those that have got to deliver for him. And if you remember, it's the same guy that took us to the final of the M10 Cup, and gave Palace a good run for their money. And we could have won that game, by the way. I mean, in the wisdom of the code, so the referee gave Palace a soft set piece. We lost fairly, I must say. Palace were deserving winners, and I take nothing away from them. And it's the same guy who was on the bench when we frankly cheated of 6 valuable points. And I would say probably if we had won those games that we were supposed to win, I think you are aware of the game against Royal AM where we were denied the legitimate goal. And 2 other games which is not worth talking about, So 6 points, you could be talking a different game now. You could be talking a different story. But look, here's a guy sitting with 34 points. And the questioning of his tactics and preparations for the games will be contextualized differently. But it's now history. It's now water under the bridge. His conversion ratio, notwithstanding that some of the games were cheated, his conversion ratio of 1.13 is less than satisfactory. It's not giving me sufficient comfort that we'll get somewhere come end of the season, and I have to act on that basis. My respect for him, quite frankly, is not heavily diminished.
You say respect of those that he was in charge of, meaning he didn't have the respect of the players. Is my understanding this of that then he had lost the change room, he had lost the players in the change room? Because, I mean, if they don't respect you, then you've lost the change room. Does this then speak to perhaps why we saw, Mobara, Majoro, Rama, as well as Buchanan at some point, the 4 of them's names mentioned, and ultimately we saw Ramatlin Patlele and Keegan Buchanan being asked to buy the club to make way. Has this got anything to do with that respect and that communication between coach and players?
I think it's a gross exaggeration to say he had lost the change room. It's a gross exaggeration, and it's a narrative that is not only reflecting badly on our erstwhile coach, but it's a narrative that reflects badly on AmaZulu as a brand, that change rooms are lost and won. What is not true? Yes, he had a tiff with some players. He had a view on some players, and vice versa, and that I was aware of.
Are these the players I've just mentioned, President?
Some of these things I treat them as entirely confidential because we're dealing with professionals here. And I'll prefer to not
mention
cast aspersions any further.
That's fine.
Suffices to say that we are where we are. I'm personally very proud of the contribution that the players of AmaZulu have made, both junior and senior, and the commitment that they have for the glory of this badge in AmaZulu. And some players, approach to call it coaches can be a lot more robust and less submissive than others. But that's what it is. These are professionals. These are highly professional people, both coaches and players. And they've got to find their own equilibrium where they earn each other's respect. But we don't have the time. We now have 6 games left, and I want to compete for these 18 points. Quite frankly, I see AmaZulu as the contenders for the top 8 finish. And we want to play in the MTN Cup. We've got unfinished business. And so for me, it's a bit of an anxiety that if I'm not sure that we'll qualify for the top 8, then I take action. Remember last season, I did exactly the same. At some stage, I think we're left with 7 games, and I did my own projection. I said, look, at the rate we are playing, we're not going to make it to the top 8. And we took changes. And if you saw the performance of the team prior to that change and the performance of the team after the change, we were able to convert more points per game. And we qualified for the top 8 as number 7. And it's now a common cause that we played in the final for the first time since 1976 in the top 8.
I mean, it was a great
for
moment.
the first time since 1992, generally. So that was a very informed decision, which I'm happy that I took, and I'm equally happy that I've taken a decision of relieving Folz of the head coach duties. And I think we will leave to be happy with the decision and the timing thereof.
You've let him go. There was, as you said, unhappiness and not seeing eye to eye of certain things between some players and the coach. What then happens now to the 2 players that have been let go or that have been purported to be let go by the club, Romain and Keegan Buchanan?
I think it's too early. I mean, the relieving of Fohloza happened hardly 24 hours ago. We communicated today, and the players got to be affair with it this morning. I've met with the players this morning together with the technical team. I've had a roundtable discussion with the technical team. I'm going to have a one-on-one discussion with the interim head coach fairly soon, where I need to understand what are his plans regarding the players. I'm a creature of believing in coaches. I'm a creature of being advised by coaches because ultimately, they must take the responsibility. So I'll be advised by Ayanda what he says about the players who were told to go home or to
so the players have not been told to come back? They have not been told to come back tomorrow to be at training?
I'm not entirely sure about that. No one has informed me formally.
But you would know if there was such, correct?
All I know is that they are on the payroll of AmaZulu. And so they are our players. They are at our disposal. And whatever happens, if it's done within that spirit of we're dealing with our employees, I'm sure we'll be informed appropriately at the time.
I need to let you go, but before I do you feel, and once again, this is me in my head, President, so take it for that, giving Romain Folz a contract till 2026 as early as you did, is that could that be the reason why now, when he's given you 17 points out of the 45 that he could have gotten, you find yourself in a position where you can't fully let him go and have to redeploy him instead of maybe separating completely?
I think your analysis is entirely incorrect. Is entirely incorrect. And as the president of AmaZulu, I believe, without disclosing much into how contracts are structured, I believe that we do things with scenarios such as this one not completely discounted. So we are smarter than being foolish. Thank you very much.
Appreciate
it. Good
it.
evening.
Thank you very much, Sandile Zungu, president of AmaZulu Football Club. It's exactly 6:33. You react as you will. The numbers are simple. It's 086 000 2160. WhatsApp on 060 552 7303. Romain Folz has been redeployed to go be closer to the president, to go and advise the president on the bigger vision of the team. The president says, yes, there was some respect lost somewhere. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, so you tell me what you made of that conversation. This is a man who has gotten only 17 points, has crashed out of the top 8, not the top 8, rather the Nedbank Cup now, to a minnow. The players, he says, no, nothing has been said. There might be a training, there might not. It's 6:34. Taking your calls at exactly 6:45 and your WhatsApps as well.
This is Sport Night Amplified with Andile.
Marumo Gallants, they've left 2 of their technical team members in Libya. It's now become an international relations matter. DECO coming into it. This is the spokesperson of DECO, Clayson Munyel.
Holding people hostage is a criminal offense, and the South African government will not allow for our nationals to be kidnapped or held against their will.
We've got Dr. Alzajar, who is the Libyan hotel owner out in Libya.
First of all, I want to say that I'm not holding anybody. They are not in hostage. People, they are trying to change the story to be it as a criminal. I'm not a kind of a terrorist person. It's not good way to use such words like holding or hostaging or something like this, because they are not in hostage.
This is Sport Night Amplified, powered by SABC Sports. Let's go. We don't play games. We root the game. Metro FM. It's where you're at. Call the Metro FM live studio. 0860 002 160. Yeah, we gon' get them. Get connected. WhatsApp the Metro FM studio. 060 552 7303.
Am I perhaps harsh on Romain Folz? I've done the research on Romain Folz. My producer, Timothy, did so when Romain Folz came into the country, because whenever a new coach comes into the country, we all go and we look and we listen and we watch to see who this coach is. What has he done before? And I can tell you now that it's not this only conversation with Sandile Zungu, the president of AmaZulu. Have a listen to this. This was my conversation with Dr. Abraham Sello, who brought Romain Folz into the country when he hired him at Marumo Gallants. And I asked him, I said, I've looked at the track record. I have looked at where he's worked. This is a big league. This is the most competitive league in Africa. Why him? Because I don't see it in his track record. This is what he had to say back then, beginning of the season, when I spoke to President of Marumo Gallants, Dr. Abraham Sello.
It's not necessarily about why him, and we found that this is a young man who can also take this to the opportunities we are looking for. Technically, we looked at him doing township rollers in Botswana. We looked at that, and then we looked at the previous clubs. We realized, no, I think it doesn't differ much with the previous 2 coaches, meaning the Care and Malesela as well. And I think he can take it from where they left it and then take it forward.
And then we had the conversation about his experience. And this is where people get it wrong with Romain Folz. When people speak of his experience, everybody says, oh, but why are you talking about his age? No, we're not talking about his age. Yes, he coaches players older than him. But take a look at Rulani Mokoena. Take a look at coaches around the world now. You know, those that have just finished playing are now coaches. It's got nothing to do with that, but rather his specific experience. I asked that too to Dr. Abraham Sello back then. And I just wonder, do you worry about his experience?
Not much, because I looked at the CV, we looked at all the previous interaction with the other clubs, went through some clubs which also are in Africa, and he was still at the neighboring state here as well. He did very well. And not to say that he may do bad or well with us, but we believed in his presentation to us, the way he marketed himself and the way we realized it's the philosophy which we are using. And then despite the age, and then the age also gives us the advantage that he'll interact very well with our players.
So when people say it's experience, no, let me give you the stats. 4 wins since the 9th of October 2022 when he was hired at AmaZulu. 9 draws, 7 losses. Right? That's in all competitions. When you take a look at the league specifically, he's collected 17 points of a possible 45 points. I can tell you without Ungabaza that the players questioned how they train and his tactical acumen and, the knowledge. And then I wonder, is this not a man who perhaps speaks really well and puts together really great presentations to teams? Because there he was, let go from not delivering results at Marumo Gallants and getting a very cushy job at one of the, standout clubs really in the KZN and in South Africa, AmaZulu. He goes there again, doesn't deliver. Not fired, but given a position closer to the president. You tell me. You tell me. Players are let go. The president uses the word respect was lost. I say lost to change him. He says, no, that's a gross exaggeration. But respect was lost. And rightfully so. The president protects not only his players, but all people under the banner of AmaZulu. Think about it. I'd love to take your calls. When we come back, 6:45, this show has grown to prove time and time again that when the calls come in from 6:45 to top of the hour, that's the best part of it, because you never know what comes out on the other side of those calls.
The Midday Link Up with LKG and Proverb.
Avant-garde. Okay, guys. I wish one day you can invite me to your show so that I can avant-garde you.
I think he's trying to say upgrade us, but just using the wrong word for it, wrong context.
Or maybe he wants to be like a bouncer, because he said, I want to avant-garde you guys.
Yes.
The
bouncer.
Yeah.
The Midday Link Up.
Everyone has like a family in their neighborhood where you're like, hey, good number 348. There's always like a black car that comes in to drop off a briefcase and or whatever the case may be. You know
that other family that has a black cat in that township.
Why do the lights come on at midnight specifically? Yes. What happens? What do they do from then onwards?
Or that granny that, just randomly starts sweeping at like 7 in the evening. Or at about 11 or midnight.
Yes, all your stories witchcraft. What's happening?
The Midday Link Up on Metro FM. At work, at play, online and on the air.
Watch out!
Check us out at Metro FM SA on all the socials. Metro FM, it's where you're at. This is Sport Night Amplified with Andile.
Victor Hlongwane. Victor, let's go straight into it, man. Steve Barker alluded to it. What did you make of the weekend's red card and penalty?
Chiefs has got fast runners or speedy wingers. Dupree, Sandile, and Dolly.
Dolly is speedy, no?
Dolly. Huh? Dolly is calculative. So he's speedy and calculative.
Okay.
So his moves are in such a way that if you check 2 goalkeepers, both red cards through Dolly. Richards Bay
and say Stevens.
He's a smart player.
He's
yeah.
a smart player.
Yeah.
And then you go again to Sandile on Pirates. Maile tackled him, one-on-one Doxo situation. Red card. And you go again to Munyai, who tackled Sandile again. It was supposed to be straight red for Munyai of TS Galaxy. So why Steve Barker complains, I don't know. I don't understand. Red card for the goalkeeper, Sage Stevens, very good. Clear penalty. Impact was there for the player to fall. Good decision by Mukwananzi. So Steve must do his job.
This is Sport Night Amplified, powered by SABC Sports. Let's go.
Right, it's 6:42 on the mighty Metro FM. This is the award-winning Sports Night Amplified with Andile. My name is Andile Ncube alongside my team. Remember, top of the hour, we do have a new thing happening here. It's going to be day 2 of Faith Mangope coming in with Metro FM Talk with Faith Mangope. So do look forward to that. We cross over at 7 o'clock to that show there. Let's hear what some of you thought of the conversation we've just had with the president of AmaZulu, Sandile Zungu.
Yeah, we gon' get them. Get connected. WhatsApp the Metro FM studio. 060-552-7303.
Evening, Miss Andile. Yes, Bertrand Dusange from Divan. Yeah, just like talk CEO Sandile Zungu, AmaZulu. So, yeah, it's not about the coach. It's about the players. We sell our best players. Then there's a problem. Yeah, there's a problem. That's a problem. We sell our best players, then we don't replace them with quality, and the coach, is to blame.
I must be honest.
Big up to your show.
I think that AmaZulu team is full of quality.
Andile, Jimmy Mao, the busy corner of Motsebe, Andile, Bona, Kupela over the chairman, ya AmaZulu, Hore, Ona Kuchara, Wato Kriang, Eto Konang AmaZulu, Benny McCarthy, Nel Kuchara High, Ukubila Kuchara Elongore, Naito team ya high. We are more one of the best histories. Sama South Africa. Jimmy Mao, the busy corner of Motsebe, thank you, Ma.
Lipara Zulu when I got in Durban, Ipakania. Mr. Zungu is just afraid of releasing Mr. Folz because he recently gave him 3 years contract. So it's difficult for him to fire the man. But then deep down, Mr. Zungu knows what he wanted to get rid of Mr. Folz. Because the results are not coming. I mean, you cannot give him the man 3 years contract and then the results are not coming. And then you redeploy him, you make him your technical advisor. Who's going to advise you about your Vision 2030? He wanted to fire the man, but then the contract, he knows what he's going to pay a lot.
I think Uzungu usebenzisa ama emotions. If ethatha inqumo ngeteam yakhe. Asekho isidingo sokuthi anikeze besingekho isidingo sokuthi anikeze uFohloza i-contract ya 3 years. Just after eshaya iKaizer Chiefs ngofonile yabo yena usebenzise lelo thuba wanika lo muntu lo cause it look like iKaizer Chiefs akayithandisisi kahle yabo. That's my point of view.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We're going to take 2 more, but it's 6:45. And you know what happens at 6:45? We start taking your calls. So let's go. Dixon, I see you're there already. We'll take those calls in just a few. It's 086 000 2160. Let's take the last 2 just quickly because I can see all the calls. But let's take the last 2 voice notes and then get into the calls. 086 000 2160. Romain Folz has been moved from coach to a higher position, that of technical director, the person who will oversee Vision 2032. That is a huge deal because now you're not just in charge of, the 23 men, the 11 that go on the field, but you are in charge of the entire club's vision and advising, sitting right next to the president. Is that a promotion? I don't know.
Good evening, Andile. Man, I don't know what Mr. Zungu sees on the coach or ex-coach of AmaZulu, because that guy akukondo azenayo bambekayo for Usuthu, and I think I don't know, man. And there's by I really don't know.
Right, let me go through some of your tweets here very quickly before I do take the 2 calls, hopefully 4 or 5 by the time we get off the air. I'm going to try to get as many in as possible. Sovereign Umbusi_Bindlovu says, I honestly don't buy Zungu's explanation. Folz does not have the experience to lead a side as big as AmaZulu Football Club. Mr. Zungu said before the start of the season, he wants to build a team that competes for trophies. He said people must earn their spots in the club. President Yama2K Umdaibuko says Folz is the biggest scam from South African football. AmaZulu Football Club will improve under Ayanda. Trust me. I'll take the rest of the tweets as we go. Hashtag, of course, it is Sports Not Amplified with Andile. Let's go to Dixon. Dixon, you there? Oh, why are you forwarding me there, Malcolm? Give me Dixon. Don't forward me. Okay, you want to go to Mdu then? Okay, it was Dixon. Dixon, hi.
Hello.
Hey, Dixon, talk to me.
Yeah, Andile.
Hey.
You know what's happening? I think there's too much gatekeeping in the PFF. Because this small team, as long as they don't get sponsors, Andile, the sponsors are only going to only the 2 big teams only.
But what sponsors got to do with what's happening at AmaZulu?
No, but these people, they sign players, good players. Then the bill for the salary becomes high. Now they see that they cannot afford the pay. They start offloading everyone, thinking that maybe when they get to PSL, I think maybe they'll be able to get a sponsor. At least the sponsor can meet them up.
But AmaZulu does have a sponsor.
Yeah, but Andile, it's not a problem for AmaZulu only. like this thing is holistic. All the teams in the PSL are struggling. I'm finding hard to understand that. Like, what is really happening? Don't think this betting, sports, whatever, they don't want to sponsor the PSL team. What's happening?
Well, it's not that they don't want to sponsor it. There is at the moment. I mean, I do know that at the moment the PSL is dealing with that whole thing of allowing betting companies to come in. It's a mandate that is constantly sitting with the board, and it's something that they're trying to work out. At some point, it will be able to come on board, but at the moment they can't. But Dixon, I do hear you. You know, I just think that it's not that blatant for everyone. You know, AmaZulu is a club that's got... oh, he's gone there. Terribly sorry about that, Dixon. Let's go to Doom Tiane out in Durban. Tiane. There it is. It's the Lions. It's not me. Let's move on to the Val. Gilbert is there. Hopefully Gilbert will have better luck. Gilbert. It's just not your day, is it? Huh? Timmy, these lines. Gilbert, are you there?
I am here. Are you there?
Oh, now I am. Talk to me. Terribly sorry. When there's load shedding, you're going to hear across radio stations that do it a lot because it does tend to do that. But talk to me.
Yeah, Andile, I just want to comment on the AmaZulu situation, but the PSL as a whole.
Go for it.
It's just unfortunate how local coaches are not given the same courtesy and support that some foreign coaches who have proven little to this game are given. I'm talking Romain Folz, I'm talking... and it's Mirendop who keeps getting a job every second day in South Africa without much to show.
You know, Gilbert, I don't know if you've been listening to us. I've asked time and time again for somebody to conclusively show me Ernst Middendorp since he's been here over 10 years. I think it was, I can't remember how many years when he started at Kaizer Chiefs. I think it was in the 90s already. Besides the trophy he won when he got here with Chiefs, what has he done to prove to get a contract every time? But you seem to know.
Everywhere. So it's a problem that I have with these South African chairmen who give these international coaches who've proven or who've done little for the game in this country. Even Dylan Kerr, in as much as I see his jobs of saving teams, but the trophy cabinet seems to be empty. So I'm just surprised at how quick they fire our local coaches and how they can give Romain Folz, who I think at the time only had 2 wins in SA, a 3-year contract. Maybe they should try and rope in a seasoned campaigner from the big team since they're trying to transition into being a big team who can at least allocate finances, because clearly there's a problem with finances. That's the only reason I can come up with for them releasing someone like Ramasho Mpashele, who was always in the starting lineup but suddenly is released.
If you listened on Monday, we said it can never be discipline. Hlompo Kekana said on Soccer Zone, he played with this man. This man led Sundowns to a trophy. It can't be discipline. He knows him well. So it was never going to be that, you know. But I completely hear you, Gilbert. Thank you so much. I appreciate it out in the Val. Pro Pilani, who's always a fact checker on this show here, says, Andile, the year was 2005 when Middendorp got here. Do your math. Do your math. That's 18 years. Tell me what that 18 years has delivered. Let's go to Ray. Ray's out to Kaslamakasa Timbis. Yeah, I know. I'm always good. Talk to me.
Yes, man. I just think maybe Mr. Folz here, the way you were saying, everything come there, the team was in a bit of a messy situation because I think Folz was really able to handle all the pressure. And then with the releasing of and I think maybe because they were trying to add an input in building the team. So I think maybe the coach was feeling undermined. I think the reason why those boys were released because I think like the way the guys were saying, like Trump, how disciplined is Ramashe is. So I don't think their experience were there to demolish the team or something. I think they were trying to add more of their experience to build the team. So maybe there were a bit of a clash between the coach and them because maybe he was thinking they over empowering him with ideas and stuff. So maybe he was thinking he's trying to present the younger ones or something like that. But I don't think it was a bit of not being disciplined and stuff. So I think Mr. Zungu just needs to sort his whole team out and then get a new coach. Because I think that guy, to me, he wasn't that much of a experienced coach. He was doing good, but I don't think he was good enough to handle all the pressures going down to the handling down the relegation zone and stuff. So, but I think, yeah.
Let me tell you about Ramatlem Patlele. He's been in the league since he came through, I think it was Swallows back in 2006, 2007 season. You know, he went to University of Pretoria. I remember at some point he was highly frustrated at Sundowns when he wasn't playing, and then he was injured. 16 years in the league. This is the first that there'd ever be anybody saying he's done something that is untoward. And this is a player that has been let go from Chiefs. He's been let go from Sundowns. He's moved on from Sundowns twice, in fact, when he went on a loan and then ended the loan. This would be a first. And I'm not saying that it's not capable of that. I'm just saying it's highly unlikely. And also, you're telling me that you had Majoro was mentioned a little bit earlier. You had Keegan Buchanan as well, who's out there. Players that you've never heard discipline from. We know players that struggle with discipline. But hey, here we are.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like their experience, I think maybe the coach felt intimidated that maybe they wanna like rule over him. That's why I'm saying I don't think they were misbehaving. It's just that maybe they were adding more value. Because you can check how Ramatlem got. They already got a goal with the team. It shows the frustration you get when they're losing or not doing good. So maybe there was a clash because the coach felt like maybe those guys are giving him more of a light than he's supposed to do. So he felt like, I can't do this. Even though it was the right thing to do, but he felt like I can't do it.
Right.
That's why I think maybe he did let them go.
I really do appreciate you. Let's go to Sia out in Cape Town. Sia.
Hey, Andile,
I know, strong. How are you?
I am good. First of all, I just want to comment on something. I think I also had the same analysis that you had. I think that's what I thought before the president actually put some clarity on that one. I thought they kept him because of the long contract, number one. Number two, I wish our local teams, they can have the same confidence about my international coaches. They can give our local coaches the same confidence about like if they can believe in our local coaches at least, and then give them all the time that they need. Like, you see, I have no problem with international coaches. I've seen the coach now for Fohloza, like he hasn't won anything. Like he hasn't finished any season in any team, like winning any other important thing.
No. You're saying a lot about winning. Go look at his history. Go to Ghana where he's been. Go everywhere he's been on the continent. Tell me a team where he's managed it and completed an entire year at that team.
Yes, exactly. So, and if we keep on doing such things, and then these things, they will affect our league in the long run, believe it or not. So if we're trying to compete in Africa and all the time, like even now, we only have one team that is dominating in PSL, which is Sundowns. So if we want to improve our football, like, why are we still looking at coaches like this who have nothing that we can actually look at it and then say, okay, he has won this, he has done this, he has done this. It can actually add value in our league and all that stuff. But I'm still looking forward on what the end goal of Mr. Zungu with AmaZulu and why he would actually promote him to work very close with him if he didn't deliver as a coach.
See, that's a question you and I have both. Yes. But you heard him. I asked him, I said, what is the belief? And he says he sees something in him. I have the utmost respect for not only Sandile Zungu, but the entire Zungu clan and what they're trying to do at AmaZulu. And I hope that his approach and his eye, because his eye is what's made him the successful businessman that he is. I hope that it's going to prove me wrong in particular when it comes to Romain Folz, because I have utmost respect for them. Sia, I appreciate you and thank you very much, man. Let's go to Umzulu ngenaqala. Ngeke madoda ngicela Umzulu ngenaqala aphinda abuye team. Kanjani nje kanjalo. Rudzani is out in Centurion. Rudzani. Oh well. You know, I see so many of you, but gets a bit frustrating with the load shedding lines there. We are live, of course, on Twitter and on Facebook. At the end of the show will be put up on our Instagram handle, SNLWA, Sports Night Live with Andile. Follow our tweets as well on Twitter, because we do tweet the show live. Everything you hear from myself to the responses, we tweet that every single day, and then we chop it up and put it up on Instagram, and you can catch the full show as a podcast on metrofm.co.za, but also you can catch it on YouTube. Let's go to Simlindile.
Yes, man, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. Talk to me.
I'm good. Yeah, I think Mr. Zungu, I'm not sure which direction he's taking now, because I think for him it's downgrading now. You can't have the coach of caliber of Benny McCarthy and then now you go for a guy who must still learn and build the team.
Who's that?
So for me,
who's
it
that
doesn't
guy?
make sense. That Romain Folz is not the right guy for AmaZulu. Or maybe they are just trying to cut the budget.
All right, I hear you.
Because according for his experience and what Benny has achieved to AmaZulu, he's not the right guy.
So, Andile, I appreciate it. Let's go to Rozani. I think we finally do have Rozani back on the line. Rozani?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Hey, you're the last one, man. Talk to me.
Yes, I see this AmaZulu chairperson. I feel like it's too ambitious, man. You can't want a team like AmaZulu to be on the top 4. I mean, it's a small club. I mean,
AmaZulu is a small club.
It's a very small club, irrespective of the years that it has in the PSL. But according to me, you can't. If it finishes probably on the top 6, I think it's enough. I mean, it's more than enough.
Where did AmaZulu finish under Benny McCarthy?
It finished, yes, under Benny McCarthy, it finished on the top 4 with something else. You get what I'm saying? But now, you can't expect it to play like that continuously.
Why? Why not? If you've built something, that's what building is, isn't it? Then what you do season on is build on top of that.
Even in other leagues, there are teams which are small. You see Leicester. Leicester won the league, but it won't happen again. You get what I'm saying?
So you think AmaZulu is a small team?
It's a very small club. You must not even expect top 4 again.
Aibo. Hi. Okay, there's nothing I can say to that. I hear you. I mean, it's your opinion, and I hear it, and I have to respect it. Thank you very much for calling, and I appreciate it, Mendruzan.
Thank you.
She was AmaZulu. Yeah, a small club. Yeah, maybe this is my sentiments as somebody who, grew up with admiration for AmaZulu. I mean, I absolutely loved them growing up because I was of the opinion that if you're Zulu, you support AmaZulu. As what my uncle Sandile once gypped me and told me that in a very facetious manner. But I hear that. I don't know if they're a small team, but I can tell you now that it's in the hands of people that are learning and will go on to learn. At some point, they'll be able to be a lot more pugnacious in the way that they jump into things. It's a minute after the hour 7. And as I said yesterday, we've got a new thing happening on the Metro FM Talk slot between 7 and 9 o'clock. It's called Faith Mangope, and absolutely beautiful. I don't miss you for one reason, because, hey, what a stunner I have in front of me. But the most stunning thing about Faith is, of course, her ability to do her job. And I mean, listening to you with John Steenhuisen yesterday, I felt sorry for the guy.
John is interesting to interview. I think more than anything else, it's important to interview the likes of John Steenhuisen. 2024 is around the corner. We need to be able to show South Africans exactly who they're going to be voting for. And you need to know your politicians, because otherwise you're going to give them 5 years of power, and then you're going to be angry if they do not necessarily deliver on the power that you've given them.
Today, a little bit earlier, I was at the gym, and I don't think I got much done because I was listening to the parliamentary hearing on the Department of Justice and the whole Thabo Bester thing that's happened, and G4S and all of that. What a fascinating sit-down. Very happy with what the ruling ultimately came out as, but I thought that was quite fascinating. And at some point, it pointed fingers at people who are service providers to the government think of the government in the way that they treat them.
100%, and I'm so glad you said that, Andile, because today we're going to be in conversation with Ground Up, which is the journalist that actually uncovered that uncovered Thabo Bester, and obviously you're speaking here about G4S failing to present themselves before the Parliamentary Committee on Justice, and we're going to be going into a letter also. Allegedly, there was a letter that was allegedly sent to the Deputy Minister, notifying them on the 11th of June, notifying the Deputy Minister of this escape.
Yeah.
What happened to that letter? Why has anything has not been said?
Lomise.
And that's the one of the conversations that we're going to have tonight. But in the VIP room at the SABC today, we've got the Gauteng Premier Sandile Zungu, who's about to talk to us. So he's in studio with us this evening. We're going to talk everything about coalitions, the province, looking at how do we necessarily grow. I think many of us will be interested in finding out about this letter that former President Thabo Mbeki addressed to the Deputy President Paul Mashatile regarding why is it that we do not interrogate the Phala matter adequately. So we're going to be in conversation with him, obviously the Gauteng Premier, but also as the Gauteng Chair of the African National Congress. And then we're going to touch on the Thabo Bester matter. You want to stay tuned. You know my 8 o'clock. You want to stay tuned for 8 o'clock. I know.
Now
it's 8 o'clock. The whole day. Let me tell you what's happening at 8 o'clock. You know how we always talk about corrupt police officers and the type of dealings that they do. What would happen if we spoke to former corrupt police officers?
Wow.
Who actually got arrested for corruption.
That is crazy.
That's what we're doing at 8 o'clock.
Just do me one favor, though. Please ask Mr. Panyaza Lesufi, the Premier,
who's right here, right there.
If the reason he wears those Mandela-looking shirts is because there's a presidential ambition somewhere deep down there, as many South Africans.
I'm not saying anything, but it looks very familiar, doesn't it?
That shirt.
Look at him.
I think that shirt is very telling.
Look at him.
That shirt is very telling. Panyaza Lesufi, he's here. One day he'll come speak to us about football. But today, he's here to speak all things politics. 4 after the hour 7. This is the biggest sports show anywhere in South Africa. The award-winning Sports That Amplified with Andile. Pela. And so me.
Oh, yeah.